Good morning students. Today we are going to discuss about the memories. Previously we discussed about what is memory and what are the types of memory, and we discussed about the read-only memory and classification of the read-only memory. Now we are going to discuss about the random access memory. What is random access memory? Otherwise we call it as a read-write memory. Okay, so normally memory is used to store the information or a data or control algorithms, or the booting process algorithms will be stored in the memory. The memory may be connected outside of the chip or inside of the chip based upon the application where we are using in the embedded system. If it is connected inside the chip, then it is called as a on-chip memory. If this is memory is connected outside the system, then it is called as a off-chip memory. So when the application is requires a larger amount of memory, then the memory will be connected outside of the chip. If the application requires less number of memory, then the chip will be connected inside the system. Okay, so RAM, random access memory. What is random access memory? Random access memory, or otherwise we used to say that it is a read-write memory. What are the types of read-write memory? In the sense, it has SRAM, DRAM, NVRAM. What is SRAM? Static RAM. DRAM is nothing but dynamic RAM. NVRAM is nothing but non-volatile RAM. In RAM is itself, it is a volatile in nature. That volatile in nature in the sense, whatever the information which is stored in the memory is temporary only. When the power failure occurs, the data will be erased. That is nothing but the volatile nature. If the data is not erased, then it is called as a non-volatile in nature. So normally read-only memories are the non-volatile in nature. Some of the random access memory such as NVRAM, non-volatile RAM, it is also called as E2P ROM, that is used to store the data even though the power failure is occurs. And the lastly we are going to discuss about memory shadowing technology, which is mainly used in embedded system. First we will discuss about the types of the RAM. Okay, so random access memory in the sense, it is a data memory or working memory of the controller or processor. Sometimes it is used to called as a main memory. In operating system we used to say that main memory is nothing but random access memory. And controller or a processor can read the data from it and write the data into it. RAM is a volatile in nature, meaning is when the power is turned off, all the contents are destroyed. RAM is a direct access memory, meaning we can access the desired memory location directly without need for traversing through the entire memory location to reach the desired memory position or random access memory location. This is in contrast to the sequential access memory, otherwise we call it as a SRAM, where the desired memory location can be accessed by either traversing through the entire memory or through the seek method. And magnetic tapes, CD-ROMs are the examples of the sequential access memory. RAM generally falls into three categories. One is static RAM, another one is dynamic RAM, another one is non-volatile RAM. So these are the types of the random access memory. This picture is given here. Okay, SRAM, DRAM and NVRAM. So first we will see about SRAM. SRAM is nothing but static RAM data storage in the form of voltage. They are made up of flip-flops. Static RAM is the fastest form of RAM available. In this typical application or implementation, SRAM is a cell is realized using 6 transistors of the 6 MOSFET. So SRAM consists of 6 transistors, that is nothing but 6 MOSFET is connected, where 2 is used for the data read and data write, and 4 registers are used for the transistors to realize the storage. 4 transistors are used for building the latch part of the memory cell and 2 for controlling the access. SRAM is the fast in operation due to its resistive networking and switching capability. In its simplest representation, and SRAM cell can be visualized. So this is nothing but the SRAM. Here, the left hand side diagram, we have a nearly 6 transistors of the MOSFET is connected. The first transistor is Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 is acting as a latch, where Q5 is used for the bit line B complement, and Q6 is used for the bit line B input. Okay, and word line is connected here, VCC, and ground is given. This is nothing but the right hand side. We have a visualization of the SRAM cell, which has the data to write, and right hand side data to read, and in between that we have a inverters, two inverters which is connected back to back, and we have a write control and we have write control. So this implementation, its simpler form can be visualized. So it is called as a two cross coupled inverter with the read write control through transistor. From the SRAM implementation diagram, it is very clear that access to the memory cell is controlled by the line word, which controls the access transistors Q5 and Q6. This access transistors control the connection to the bit lines of B bar and B. In order to write the value to the cell, apply the desired value to the bit control lines. So we have to write in the cell, we have to control the bit line controls. For writing 1 and making B1, B is equal to 1 and B bar is equal to 0. For writing 0, make B is equal to 0 and B bar equal to 1. And assert the word line. This is nothing but operation of the latch bit written in the flip-flop. For reading the content of the memory cell, assert the both B and B bar bit lines to 1. If you make all the B and B bar to 1 and set the word line to 1 to read the content. What is the limitation of SRAM? It is nothing but low capacity and high cost. Minimum of 6 transistors are required to build a single small memory cell. One cell will store 1 bit. So if you want to store a byte, in the sense n number of transistors are used to store the informations. So it costs more. Imagine how many memory cells are required if you want to go for 1 GB or 2 GB. Okay. Next we are going to discuss about the dynamic RAM. So dynamic RAM stores the data in the form of charge. They are made up of metal oxide semiconductor transistor gates. The advantage of the DRAM are its high density, low cost compared to the SRAM, but often it has to be refreshed to retain the data in the cell itself. The disadvantage is that information stored as a charge, it gets leaked off with the time. To prevent this, they need to be refreshed periodically. The special circuits called DRAM controllers are used for refreshing the operation. The refresh operation is done periodically in every millisecond intervals. MOSFET acts as a gate for the incoming and outgoing data, whereas capacitor acts as a bit storage unit. Next we are going to discuss about the NVRAM. So NVRAM is the lifespan of the NVRAM is expected to be around 10 years. What is NVRAM? NVRAM is nothing but non-volatile random access memory with the battery backup. It contains static RAM based on memory and minute battery for providing the supply to the memory in the absence of external power supply. The memory and the battery are packed together in a single package. Next we are going to discuss about the memory shadowing technique. So memory shadowing, why we are using memory shadowing? In the sense, it is a technique. Okay, so memory shadowing is nothing but generally the execution of the program or any configuration from the ROM, read only memory, is very slow. So executing the program from ROM, in the sense, it would take nearly 120 to 200 nanoseconds. But if you are executing the same program from the RAM, then it requires 40 to 70 nanoseconds. Very good example I can say is your mobile phone. You have a RAM with 6 GB or 8 GB or 4 GB, and you have a ROM with 32 GB or 64 GB. The ROM is used to store the permanent informations. Whenever you are downloading an app, that app will be loaded or app will be stored in your memory. Okay, whenever you want to execute the app, in the sense that image of the app will be loaded in the random access memory, then the speed of the application will be increases. So for that purpose only the RAM or the main memory, or we used to say that it is a working memory, is used. Memory shadowing method is nothing but whenever some of the devices are connected to the system, whenever you are switching on the system, immediately the BIOS setup will take place. BIOS is nothing but basic input output systems. Okay, so it will boot the system configuration. So it will copy the information from the ROM, and it will take long time to boot the process. Instead of that, the same booting algorithm will be loaded in the, or it may be copied into the RAM also. So what is the, why we are doing this thing, in the sense, in order to increase the speed of the system or increase the performance of the system, the same content which is stored in the ROM will be stored in the RAM for the improvement of the system. Okay, so we know that RAM is a volatile in nature, so it cannot hold the information. Whenever the power failure occurs, in the sense, that time it will be vanished. Okay, but the ROM can hold the permanently. But for high performance, it should be accessed from the RAM instead of accessed from the ROM, because the program execution is very fast in RAM when compared to ROM. So for timing parameter only, we are going for the copying the content into the RAM when compared to the ROM, because RAM is 3 times faster than the ROM. Okay, so shadowing technique is nothing but to solve the execution speed problem in processor based system. In computer system and video system, there will be a configuration holding the read-only memory content called BIOC, basic input output configuration read-only memory, or otherwise we can simply say that BIOS, basic input output system. In PC, personal computer system, the BIOS stores the hardware configuration information like address assigned for the various serial ports and other non-plug plug and play devices. Okay, thus that informations are stored in the memory. Usually that will be read from the system, read-only memory system. So it is very difficult during the boot up time. It is a time consuming process. So to avoid that, now the manufacturers are including the RAM behind the logical layer of the BIOS at the same address as a shadow. It is nothing but a copy. Shadow is nothing but a copy. The first step that happens during the boot up is copying the BIOS to the shadowed RAM and protecting the RAM, then disabling the BIOS reading. Why both RAM and ROM is copied? Because RAM is a volatile that cannot hold the configuration data which is copied from the BIOS when the power supply is switched off. Only ROM can hold it permanently. For high performance, it should be accessed from the RAM instead of accessing from the ROM. Thank you.